Hi, I'm Anthony J. Smith, and I'm doing another cinema review. Today I'm just going to be discussing a movie I just saw, Star Trek Beyond. That movie, I'll get to it. um, yeah, of course, as usual, this is just me as myself, not in character or anything, reviewing the latest movie that's in theaters just to fill up some time between episodes of Anthonix Maximus. So, uh, yeah, I try to keep up, as often as I can, at least with the highly anticipated movies. A little bit late on this one, but that's because timing of the last video and everything. But by the time Suicide Squad comes out, it should be even. No promises, but do my best. Star Trek Beyond. That was actually an interesting movie. I'll give you the non spoiler and the spoiler. Different videos, you can see different results, all right? So, your non spoiler, I'm just going to go ahead and say it was a decent movie. I mean, it wasn't bad, not at all. I loved it. I always have been a fan of, like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. In fact, it was the 2009 Star Trek movie that actually got me really into it. Um, I'm not a huge Star Trek fan, uh, you know, but I've seen plenty of episodes, so I understand references. And I have the original six movies with Captain Kirk and the crew. I enjoyed this movie as much as I enjoyed Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. The problem is it's too predictable. It has too much of the same storylines we've seen over and over again in the movies. Ever since like Kirk's time, I'm talking about William Shatner's time. Uh, it didn't lack action, it didn't lack comedy, but I just kind of sat there watching the whole movie knowing how it's going to end. Uh, so the movie starts off where now the crew is established and they're actually on a on a mission where no man has gone before, and everyone is aged and established, and that's what actually made the movie pretty decent. However, it just like it's just really a shallow plot. The whole idea, as you've picked up from the trailers, is that they're being attacked by a new enemy where they have they have like these machines that like transform and just crash through the ship, and they just now are without a crew and just facing the enemy on their own. And the movie shines where different crew members are separated and they have to take on an adventure on their own, and we get to look into a great insight and have more of the crew actually given more screen time. It's not just Captain Kirk and Spock. We're introduced to a new character. She is a warrior who's trained herself on a planet that was taken over by the enemy. Uh, and her story is her family was killed, so she's seeking revenge. That's pretty much it. The bad guy, Idris Elba, while he was a good villain, he's always a great actor in the movies he's in, like Thor and Pacific Rim. there just was no difference of that character's hatred from like Khan or uh, Nero in the 2009 Star Trek movie. It's it's just your typical former good guy out for revenge villain, and that's what loses its originality. We've seen that so many times in Star Trek movies. Again, I don't hate it. In fact, far as trilogies go, I would still say it ended very well. If you want to know more of the spoilers, check out the spoiler review. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and say that, as I've said before, the actors were fantastic. They all shined. I was glad to see that Anton Yelkin had more screen time because it was his last film, sadly. But yeah, it was just there. I didn't hate it. I liked it. Didn't love it, but I liked it enough where I'll buy the Blu-ray. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie. I was pretty generous with Ghostbusters, so I'll I'll call this one an A minus because it still delivered the things that we loved about the other Star Trek movies. So I'll catch you next time. Bye.